year. Obviously, I have access to Cricinfo and stuff, and occasionally they're data people. I've also got other people. There's also Crick Sheets to get information. But yeah, I suppose mine comes from a bunch of different places, to be honest. Look, I'm pretty good at being able to look at a game and see someone being different and be able to match that to data. So for instance, I'm doing something on BJ Watling at the moment, and I assumed that there would be something peculiar about BJ Watling's batting because we know he's limited. He says he's limited, and yet he's going to go on. What's he got? The 5th or 6th best wicket-keeping batting average of all time, right? So if he's limited and he's making all those runs, there must be some sort of code that he has worked out. And it turns out that he is phenomenal when the ball is on a length outside of stump, which is the best place to be good. Because if you're good there, that's where like the majority of the balls are going to be delivered to you by a seam bowler, right? So you can overcome any other weaknesses you might have by the fact that bowlers are always going to default to bowling at the top of off stump or around the top of off stump. And if you're good at that, it means that you don't necessarily have to be great at everything else. Now, did I know that that was what he was going to be good at? No. Did I work out that there must have been something within his game that didn't make sense? Yes. So then I go looking for that. And it's the same with the Neil Wagner video. The same thing of I knew he bowled a lot of short balls and I knew he wasn't particularly fast. So then it's on me at a certain point to work out, well, how many short balls does he bowl? And then you're looking at, is he actually doing what other bowlers are doing with little spells, or is he doing something else that no one else has done? And you're looking for those sort of anomalies, I suppose, within any player, realistically, of how they do things. And we don't have stats on everything. You talked about AB de Villiers before. My guess is that we might one day be able to tell if AB de Villiers is into position, or a player like AB de Villiers is into position earlier than other players. My guess is him and Bradman and a few other players, throughout history have probably just been in position. Barry Richards is probably another one where they're just probably into position earlier than everyone else, which means that they're not really reading the ball. They're reading the field. They're reading the captain. They're reading the bowler, and they're already there. We're now at a position where we can start to work all that sort of stuff out. CrickViz just put up a tweet a couple of minutes ago with the top bowling releases, and we now, it's not about, this is something when we talk about the multi-sports thing. In basketball, we have always been so fascinated in basketball with players' heights. And it's only the last couple of years we realized that players' heights are absolutely pointless because all that tells you is where the top of their head is. The most important thing really is their standing vertical or their wingspan, right? Because what you really want to know is what the top of their finger can touch, right? So if you're 6'10", but you've got a massive wingspan, you might be able to go a foot, a couple of inches higher than someone else who's 7'2" with a small wingspan, right? And it's all those sorts of things that I am looking for. And if I see a player where something is not right, they're not being picked when they should be getting picked, or they are getting picked when they shouldn't be getting picked, or they're making runs, but they're not making runs in the way that you would make it. I just investigate it. So for me, it's like when I talk to cricket teams about working for them, they're like, you want to do Moneyball analytics? I'm like, no, I want to do due diligence. You don't even know why your good players are good, right? I want to find out why your good players are good, because if something stops with them being good, how do you know what that thing is, right? So let's go through it. Then we can develop them, and we can say to them, but this is why you're a really good player, right? This is your absolute strengths. Here's 3 of your weaknesses. Which one of them should we look at fixing? Do you think you can fix this one? And the player will go, I don't even think that's a weakness. Great. If you don't think that's a weakness, that's the easiest one to upskill. You're probably just being a little bit unlucky, right? And we could do it. And it's exactly the same thing, whether I'm working for a player or writing an article. I'm looking for those sorts of things. And that's where I go. I suppose a lot of it just comes from curiosity.